In 2012, I was in my 6th year of being a primary school teacher. I'd already been working very long hours, often 60-hour weeks, but then we had a change in our situation, and so I was working more like 75 to 80-hour weeks, which was a bit insane. It got to the Christmas holidays and I came down with flu, and then when it came back to time to go to school again, I still had no energy. I just wasn't well. For a couple of weeks I was very tired all the time, sleeping 15, 16 hours every night and still waking up exhausted. As time went on, there were weeks and then months kept rolling past, and instead of getting better, I was actually getting worse, which was really, really scary and also disheartening. And the doctors diagnosed me with chronic fatigue syndrome and said to me that this is something that you will be experiencing for the rest of your life most likely. And even if you were to get 90% better, you'll always have to be careful because this just doesn't have a cure. Not only could I just not have energy to do normal things, that it was also much more extreme than that. So it affected my ability to look at a screen. So I could only have 3 minutes a day that I could look at a screen. So that includes your phone, your computer, TV, and those 3 minutes had to be spaced apart. I could not walk very far, so I would just be able to go outside of our house, walk about 2 houses along, and then I'd have to turn around and come back, and that's in slow, slow motion. So it got pretty bad and it felt like it was getting worse. Having grown up in a Christian family that knew about God, I knew that God could heal, and I also believed that his heart was that he would want to heal me, that would be his desire. And so I had in my knower a sense of like, God, I know you will heal me, but I have no idea of the time scale. It might be next week, or it might be next month, or maybe 5 years, 10 years, I don't know. And I came to realize that actually even when he would heal me physically, my soul was even more exhausted than my body. The thought of going back to my job, even if I was well, I had come to appreciate how tired I was inside, and that I had a lot of underlying fear and anxiety and just wanting to be good and please people, but actually that I was doing that by myself and not necessarily in a healthy way. I then was told about some people who would pray with Restoring the Foundations ministry, and that was more about praying for God to do things internally. And so I thought, well, I would love that anyway, and then maybe if my inside, my heart gets more whole, then maybe that will have a ripple effect on my body. And I went and received prayer ministry. A couple of people were praying through different things with me, and during that week I had suddenly an amazing time where I could understand all the different ways that God had already been speaking to me that I hadn't recognized, and it was also new ways that he was able to speak. And during that week as well, one of the things that we did was prayed through a past memory that had been very hurtful. This for me was also one of the most transforming things. I asked Jesus where he had been when this painful experience had happened, and all of a sudden in my mind's eye I was able to see him, but in a way that felt so much more real than the tangibleness of us being here now. It was like, yeah, instead of 3D it was like 5D. He asked me if I would like to be healed, and for a short while it felt like an internal wrestle, because not being able to do things gave me an excuse to say no that I had not had before, because I was not good at boundaries. But I came to the place very quickly that I wanted to be healed, so I said yes. And during that I saw him come and take all of my fears and my anxieties about life and also what it would look like to be made well. I just knew that I had been healed. We finished our prayer and I went for a walk, and where previously I had managed to just about get up to, I can walk 60 steps somewhere, then I have to turn around and walk back, so 120 steps. And this time I felt like, oh, I'll be able to walk further. And as I came back, I counted the steps, and they had exactly doubled what I'd been able to do before that point. And then every day after that, I was able to do increasingly double or triple or quadruple what I'd been able to do the day before. And I've been fine ever since. And this week, I'm celebrating 10 years being chronic fatigue free. Yeah! Yeah, I am beyond thankful for how he transformed not only my life physically and just the ability now to be able to live a very full and active life, but also it felt like God brought so much life back into my soul. I'd been known as Becca for most of my life, but I felt like he put the re back into Becca, restored, renewed, revitalized, resurrected to a whole new life. And now the best thing of all for me is that my relationship with God feels very intimate and strong. And I would say before I used to live for God, and now I live with him as well as for him.